I was born June 1st, 1924, in Laredo, Ohio. Comparing then as it is today, I would prefer much more when I was born. I was mostly into music all my life, really. I started with drums, and I took 3 lessons on the drums. And the reason I got rid of the drums is because I brought them home and I set it up with the radio. And I used to play the drums with the big bands. And my mother didn't like that too much. It was pretty noisy. So she says, I think we have to bring the drums back. And we did. We brought the drums back to Wurlitzer, and they were nice about it. And they gave me a clarinet. That's what I started on first, a clarinet. It's a silver clarinet, which you don't see too much of today. Most of them are wood, ebony wood. But I did the clarinet for quite a while, and I went to I think it was the 5th grade or 6th grade. We played clarinets, and that's where I met my friend Bob Bailey. We stuck together for a long time. He was a clarinetist also, and we had a high school teacher, music teacher, that would come to the junior high schools and they give lessons to us, and it was really nice. We enjoyed Bailey and I. We had fun together. I was in that marching band for 5 years, and I really enjoyed it. In fact, it kept me in high school because in those days, a lot of people quit high school because of certain reasons, so I don't know. But my reason was probably I didn't care for it too much. But music kept me in high school. I was offered a dance band to go on the road. And I was in summer school trying to make up my credit, which I did about a month, I guess. Then I quit because I wanted to go on the road with the band. But I did make up my education through a correspondence course twice. The first time was in the Army, which my records were burnt in the St. Louis fire. And so I had to retake my examinations, my high school diploma, in which I got. So I was really happy because it bothered me not having that. My first, it wasn't well known at the time. It was Ray Anthony. He had a big band, and we played at a place called Ruggles Beach, Ohio, and we were there for a whole summer. And he became very famous, Ray Anthony. So we did a lot of playing in dance bands, Bob Bailey and myself. We both played a lot. And when Pearl Harbor happened, we both enlisted. And we both went to Cleveland and got our examination. We were both okay. Then we reported at a camp, Perry, Ohio. And that's where Bob and I were separated. He went to the 79th Infantry in, I believe it was Tennessee. And I went to Camp Walters, Texas. And I did a little basic training there, and they said I should be a radio operator. So they sent me on to Fort Benning, Georgia. And I was there maybe 2 or 3 months. The most challenging part was going through, I forget what they call it, you get on your belly and you crawl through barbed wire. And while you're doing that, there's real bullets going over your head. But they warned us, don't stand up. So and that maybe about 50 yards, we were on our hands and knees, on our bellies, going through all this barbed wire stuff. And at the end of the barbed wire, I noticed there's a ditch. This was in Texas, now, by the way. And in the ditch were rattlesnakes. So we really had to get up and get out quick. So, but that was the toughest part, as far as I'm concerned. It was difficult. But you know, being 17, you don't have fear as much as when you're like my age now. You have a lot of fear. You know? I did all my basic training for radio operator, so I wound up with an engineer outfit. That was in Taunton, Massachusetts. That's where I went overseas. What made me really nervous was when I boarded the ship, the sergeant or whoever he was, he said, "There's only a one-way ticket." So yeah, I got scared there. I said, "Thanks a lot, fella." But it was, you know, it took 12 days on the ocean to get there. So it was, I probably got more time on the Atlantic Ocean than most sailors. From Boston, we went to Liverpool. And from Liverpool, we stayed in England for maybe a month. Then we went to the English Channel. Then when the LSD got close to shore, the thing went down. We all got wet, of course. We were knee deep with water. So but we just went on the ship on the Utah beach. Of course, when I was there, it was D-Day. Well, it was in July, really. I think it was about the first week in July. I'm not sure. But all the bodies, it was all clean. The beach was clean. Except when we got on the land, we had, they told us to be careful of the mines and the strafing. But we walked through all France. We didn't have a ride, we just walked, you know. And the lieutenant, or whoever it was, he told us to separate ourselves so anything happens, you know. But we did see a lot of tanks overturned and even airplanes. Still, tanks were still on fire. They're still burning. Well, I don't know what. And the people they took us in. Sometimes we would find a house where we go up and sleep. They let us come in. Funny, one place I went into, stayed overnight. Gosh, I had nice bed, and the sheets, everything was really nice. Then I heard downstairs, moo. They'd bring their cows in at nighttime, bring them in the house. Well, they're afraid, I guess, somebody would shoot them and keep them. So, but yeah, it was, like I said before, when you're 17 years old, you don't have much fear. But if I was to do it now, yeah, it'd be. But I did have a frightening time. I forget where we were. It was in Germany. And that was actually my first encounter with bombs. There's called Bed Check Charlie. He would come in, we were of course in tents, you know, pup tents. And this Bed Check Charlie would come over at nighttime. We knew it was Bed Check Charlie. And about 10 minutes after he left, this airplane would come in with the motor off, no motor. Then he starts strafing. He started strafing. Then he would take off with the motor and go, you know. But fortunately, we were pretty lucky. And then the bombs started. We had bombs. So this fellow and I would put up a tent, pup tent together. There were two in the tent all the time. And I told him, he said, I'm scared. And he said, don't be scared. If the bomb's got your name on it, you won't know what hit you. So don't worry about it. So it made me feel better. And this fellow was 28 years old. That's being old for Army, you know. Me only 17, or maybe 18 that time. I don't know. But yeah, that helped me. I remember where I was at, but I forget the name of the city. But it was close by. It was about 4 or 5 miles back. So, I know it was, well, in Bastow and around that area there. So it was terribly cold. Well, before that, I wound up with trench foot, and they put me in the hospital in Germany. And I was there for 3 days with trench foot. And fortunately, I was able to get out of there pretty good. So, yeah, I wasn't able to walk. That's how cold it was. Your feet would freeze. You're in the pup tents, and you got all kinds of blankets on you and all kinds of shoes, socks, but still didn't do me any good. I wasn't able to walk. So, I was lucky. I was lucky to come back with only that. So, 1,301st Engineers, we were stationed outside of Nancy, France, which was the Third Army headquarters. And we were maybe 15, 20 miles away out in the field. And I think it was a sergeant or lieutenant, told us, myself and another fellow, to go, myself and another fellow to go to Nancy, France, and pick up some games and stuff and to bring them back to the guys so they can have some like checkers and stuff like that. And so we both went to Nancy, France, and I saw a saxophone. It was on the stand or on the wall or something. And I asked the sergeant, I said, who's playing the saxophone? He says, nobody. He says, we're looking for someone. And I said, I'm someone. And they said, well, we'll keep you here for a couple of weeks. We'll keep you for a couple of weeks and see how you do. And I never did go back to my outfit. I stayed right in Nancy, France with the 3rd Army headquarters, and I joined the 3rd Special Service outfit. And that was, they had a small band. They also had a big 15-piece band. And I played, fortunately, I was able to play in both of them. And we played a lot of shows. Well, in fact, we had a show called the Jamboree Show, which consisted of MCs and different entertainers, trio singers, and all kinds of singers. And we had tap dancer, and a guy who was the MC and told jokes and all that stuff. And we played for a lot of well-known people that came from the States to entertain the troops. And of course, the one that stand out for me mostly was Bob Hope and Ingrid Bergman, Andrews Sisters, several others. I forget offhand, but it was fun. Of course, we had a piano and all the drums and all that stuff, and we go on the C-47, I think you were. Yeah. We would throw piano and stuff on, and that's the way we would travel. Sometimes just by truck. All depends where we had to go. So, but sometimes we had to go on the plane because the entertainers would be in a certain spot. We had to go there quick. So, and I was with the Third Army. The Third Army was General Patton, of course, and I was with him in the engineers. And then when I was transferred to the Special Service outfit, it was still Patton, Third Army. So I was with the Third Army mostly overseas. One time we were in Nancy, France, which was the headquarters. They were having a party for a brigadier general. He just became a brigadier. And General Patton walked through with the barrage behind him. And he was there with his hands down and pistols, and he came through and shook hands with his general. Then he left. But it was nice seeing him, I was over there, I'm thinking I had 4 patches on my jacket. 4 patches would be 2 years. But I think it was a little over 2 years, actually, because each patch mark was 6 months being overseas. One time we went to WWII, Belgium, And I stayed there for 2 weeks, and it was fun. I met a nice girl there too. Her mother and father were pretty wealthy people. They had a chateau, so I stayed in the chateau for 2 weeks, and they had a tennis court, played tennis. So I had it pretty good there. But we were in Pilsen, Czechoslovakia, and we did show. That's where I went. I came home. I was out in the field, and they asked my name, Rossi. I said, I was in the back of the truck. I said, I'm here. He said, you're going home. I think I had about 85, 87 points. I guess if you had like 80 points, you're eligible to go home. So I was lucky. I was lucky through that war. Going was okay. It was a pretty big ship. It was almost like the Queen Elizabeth. It was big, and we took the bumps pretty good. But on the way back, it was a little different. We had what they call Liberty ships. They were small ships, and we had a lot of bumps. In fact, there was a couple of them. They tell me that they split in half. I got back on New York Harbor Christmas Day. I got home. It seemed different to me anyway. I don't know just why or how, but yeah, it was different. I think I was a little more experienced in living. We put it that way. After the war, in August, they got married. And they came in those days to house, and he asked me if I wanted to get the GI Bill. Sure, I'll go with GI Bill. What do you got for it? They said, we have radio school. I said, it's good, because I was in radio, So I went to radio school in Cleveland. I went there for about 2.5 years. And I got my FCC license, first class FCC license. Then when I graduated out of there, I got a job at the ship-to-shore station in Lorraine. And they had 2 or 3 different places where they had communication with the boats, the Great Lakes boats. So I did that for about 18 years. And my wife wanted to move to Florida. So I said, well, okay, well, I had no job or nothing, So I did put applications in. In fact, the television station was my first one that I worked at. And then I wound up at Pratt Whitney. Then from Pratt Whitney, they had layoff because I was a new guy. I was laid off. And then I went to the post office, and that's where I retired from the post office. I had 23 years in there. So here I am now. When I went to the 79th anniversary in Normandy, there were Germans there also. And I sat next to them. We had Americans here and Germans here, and we talked, just like, I even visited the German cemetery. I mean, they're human beings just like us, and they didn't want to fight. But we didn't want to fight either. I didn't realize at the time, even when I got out of the service, I didn't realize how people really cared for World War II veterans. And well, there was more than World War II. There's Korean and Vietnam veterans there too. But the way they treated us, gosh, it was just like being treated by a king, I was overwhelmed, really. We had these parades where we had cards made out with our simple bios, and they were just they put their hands out, they wanted those pictures and the sayings. They were so appreciative of what we did for them. When I went to Normandy, I learned more about Bob Bailey than I did before. They showed me all of his records. Yeah, it was about that thick of a book. Told everything about his mother, father, high school, and everything. That's what I learned mostly about him. But the strange part of that, now I know, he got killed on July 8th, which was someplace about 10 or 15 miles from Omaha Beach. I landed on Utah Beach July 8th. That's so strange. I mean, and we used to, in the high school band, we used to go out to the stadium and to rehearse for the football games, the formations. They would tell us how to do such certain things. And we walked to high school and then we walked back. We always stopped and had ice cream, and get 2 ice cream cones. And like I said, I was about 5 blocks we lived from each other, and we would wave each other all the time. You'd go maybe a block, he'd wave, I'd wave. We'd go another block, we'd wave. I mean, we were close. And at the time when we play in bands, the bands, if they hired me, they would have to hire him, or vice versa. But we were, it was overwhelming being at that cemetery, I'll tell you. His mother sent me a letter. She asked, which I didn't know at the time, where he was, or how he got killed, nothing. But she asked for me to take a picture of the cemetery, So I went to a graves registration camp, and a bunch of soldiers, in those days, they just took him and threw him in a ditch. So I took a picture of him and sent it to her. I don't know, I never heard back from her. So, but I didn't know he was buried in called Colville, I think. It's Colville, France. Yeah. I didn't know that he was buried there. And that was a tough assignment. That really was tough. We talked to each other, and I'm sure I heard the birds chirping. I said, every time I say something, the birds are chirping. But then I forgot something, and I went back the second day to the cemetery. And I said, Bob, I forgot to tell you, we won the war. I said, especially you guys here, yeah. I really don't deserve that much. I was a lucky person coming back. But all those vets that died, got killed, they're the heroes, real heroes. We were lucky guys coming back. 50 years from now, they should remember that we're a democracy, We're not a Hitler world. And I think people are beginning to understand that, that we want to live in peace. That's the way it should be. We're all humans. And I don't care where you're from, Africa or Germany or Switzerland, any place. We're all human beings. And it's a short life too. Believe me. I know I'm 100, but most people don't get to 100. But I'm very fortunate.
Hi, Mr. Rossi. How are you?
Fine.
Where are you joining us from this morning?
Port St. Lucie, Florida.
Oh, is David there with you? Is Mr. Trail there with you?
Yes, Mr. Trio is with me.
Good morning, Alex.
He's my interpreter.
How are both of you this morning?
Oh, I'm fine. And I hope you are too.
Yeah, I'm great, thanks. I wanted to ask you, first of all, do you still play the saxophone?
No. When I reached 85 years old, I retired from it. My amateur was gone.
Do you miss playing the saxophone? I mean, do you miss
absolutely. No, absolutely. I really miss it. Yeah, especially playing in a big band. I played in a lot of small groups, but the big band I enjoyed mostly.
Do you ever get out and watch big band music, or do you ever go and listen to that kind of music today?
Yeah, no, not too much. But Mr. Trail did take me to a concert which was very nice. Yeah, yeah.
So tell us about what it was like to serve in Patton's Third Army. Are you proud that you served under George S. Patton?
You say, was I proud?
Yeah. Are you still proud to have belonged to the Third Army?
Were you proud to have served in the Third Army?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I went to Fort Benning radio school and figured I was going to be a radio operator, but no, I was when they transferred me to the engineer outfit. I was really, I was surprised. But actually, I met a fellow from my hometown in the 1301st. That was surprised too, and I enjoyed being with them. It was great, but I also enjoyed the Third Special Service, so that was good too. Yeah.
What were you trained to do as an engineer? What was your job as an engineer?
I did the radio operator for a while. We did it for about 3 months, and it took 2 people to operate the codes. I did the Morse code, and I had another fellow that did the cranking for the electricity to send the messages. But after about 3 months, they gave it up. I don't know why. I never asked. So, but we just did our duty.
What had you heard about Patton before you joined the Third Army? Did you know anything about General Patton?
Yeah, I heard. Well, no, I never heard about General Patton while I was a civilian, but while I was in the Third Army with General Patton, I heard a lot of bad remarks about him, but I don't have any bad remarks. So I think he was a great general. And I did meet his granddaughter going to Normandy. She was surprised that I was with her grandfather, and she gave me a big hug, and we talked for a little bit. But no, I liked General Patton. A lot of people were against him. They kept saying, his blood in our guts, So I don't see why. But
what did you admire about him? What did you like about him?
Well, I think he was very astute. He was a real general, I think. I think he was. I mean, he had one of the things I didn't like about him was he spearheaded a lot, and he had us trapped one time, but we were saved. But no, he was a smart general. I think he was like Rommel in the German army. I think they think alike. He was a smart general.
What were the criticisms that you heard about him? That he was too strict, that he made you guys wear your helmets all the time? What were the criticisms of him?
The criticism?
Yeah.
Well, they kept saying our blood in his guts. It's ridiculous. And I guess the rumor about him slapping the GI, and and we're all human. So,
did you know about that when you were serving in the Third Army? Did you know about the slapping incident? Did people know about that generally?
Oh yeah, we all knew about it. I mean, that news gets around pretty fast.
Were you ever worried that he might slap you?
Were you ever worried he might slap you?
No. But I can remember though he made remarks to a couple of my outfit, 1301st Engineers, and another outfit, engineers. We built the first bridge over the Rhine River. And I had nothing to do with it. I worked in the headquarters. And I heard the statement that he came around and says, "Hurry up, soldier, down there." They were down below. Do it fast, And I understand one of them said, I guess more like a whisper, he says, "I shouldn't say this, go to hell." But that's the way some people talked about him. But he was a good general. Excellent general.
Did he cuss more than other senior officers? And did you know anybody else that cussed as much as him?
Profanity wise, did he use a lot of profanity in your vicinity, or did a lot of people?
Oh, yeah, he used a lot of profanity. Yeah.
So tell us about how you got to meet Bob Hope. What happened there?
How did you meet Bob Hope?
Oh, well, that's when I was in the 3rd Special Service. I met him, I forget where, it was in Germany. And we were doing a program outside. And that's where I met him. I met her, Ava Bergman also. That's when she was with him. So, yeah, it was nice. He was such a nice fellow. We had dinner, not dinner, but we had sat down, all of us, and had a meal. And he was a funny guy. Yeah.
But you also met Mickey Rooney and other people?
Mickey Rooney, yeah, he was attached to our outfit. He was in an outfit called, let me see, the Jeep Shows. And he had his whole group, and we had our own group, which was a jamboree show. And we would go one place, and they would go one place, but we would all come back together again. He was with us about 6 months. He's quite a guy. Yeah.
So, do you remember any of his jokes? Do you remember any of his jokes, Bob Hope?
Do you remember any of the jokes that Bob Hope told?
No, not really. That's from a long time ago.
So what was it? What was the daily life of you guys in the USO? I mean, did you play a concert every day? How did it work? What was
every day? Yeah, we traveled every place. Yeah, I can't name all the cities in Germany and France. There's so many of them. Frances Langford, she was with about too. So,
right.
Yeah. So what was your typical day like with the special services?
Oh, I liked it. I mean, my saxophone was part of my life. And that's, I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Did you get up in the morning and travel someplace, unload, and then play, or how did your day go?
Yeah, we played. Sometimes we go to different camps, They're all outside camps. Well, there's a couple that were in hangars, the airplane hangars. Yeah, we did a lot of traveling. I mean, I can't remember the name of the cities because I can't pronounce them. But it was fun.
So how beautiful was Ingrid Bergman on a scale of 1 to 10 or 1 to 100? Was she a 10 out of 10 or 100 out of 100?
Ingrid Bergman.
Oh, she was so nice. Yeah. I mean, to me, I think she was a little bit shy, I would say, But yeah, she was. She sat down with us. We had lunch. And
Alex asked, "How much of a looker was she? How much of a looker was she on a scale of 1 to 10? How pretty was she?"
How pretty?
Yeah.
Oh, 10 plus.
That's the perfect answer. Thank you, Mr. Rossi. That's all we need to know about World War II is that Ingrid Bergman was a 10 out of 10. But anyway, did you actually talk to her about anything? Do you remember having a conversation with her?
Did you have a conversation with Ingrid Bergman, or?
Well, I sat too far away from her, but I saw other GIs talk to her. No, I never did. No. Well, we said hello to him. That's it, but no conversation.
Right. So when you play,
Because when we were set up in the bandstand, she would come and say hello to all of us,
how many troops did you play in front of? I mean, how big were the crowds?
Oh, they're big crowds. The GIs, they loved it. Yeah, they loved it.
Would you say there were 1,000 GIs?
Oh,
100?
no, it wasn't 1,000. No, I don't think it was 1,000, maybe 300 or 400.
Did you ever have any small groups?
No, all the groups we played for were pretty large.
Did you consider yourself very lucky that you were actually playing the saxophone rather than having to fight in a foxhole? Were you aware of
My saxophone was part of my life. I think you read the book. Yeah, that was me and my saxophone. It's I think it saved my life, really.
Yeah,
and that's how I got married too, and meet people by my saxophone, with girls, So
right. Okay. Well, tell us more about that, because your weapon was your saxophone. I mean, it kept you alive because you didn't have to fight in the front lines. Do you consider yourself very lucky that you became a became a musician?
Very lucky. I consider myself very lucky, and I thank my saxophone.
But tell us about the moment when you went from being a soldier to being in the USO to playing in front of other GIs. How did that happen exactly?
What's that?
So how did it happen that you went from being a guy who was a combat engineer to all of a sudden you're switching? Can you describe, that day where you...
Well, I was just fortunate back in Nancy, France, where I saw the saxophone, and they were looking for someone to play it. It was fortunate, lucky.
What caused you to be at that place where you saw the saxophone?
Well, we were sent, another fellow and myself. We were about 20, 25 miles away from Nancy. They pick up the stuff to bring back to my outfit. So that's where it all started.
So you came in to get supplies for your guys, and then you saw the saxophone there? You said you came to this depot to get stuff to bring back to your unit.
Yeah.
And then you just saw a saxophone sitting there?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I saw the saxophone. I asked the sergeant, I said, who plays the saxophone? He says, we're looking for someone. That's when I said, well, someone,
And did you ever get back to your unit?
No, I never went back.
You just stayed there?
They said to stay there for 2 weeks to try out, So I stayed there for 2 weeks and never went back to my outfit. That was it.
Mr. Rossi, when was your birthday? When was your birthday?
My birthday?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was born June 1st, 1924.
So how did you spend Christmas 1944? That was, can you take us back to Christmas 1944?
Oh, gosh. Christmas 1924?
44.
1944.
During the Bulge.
Christmas during the Bulge. Yeah, well, before the Bulge, let me start back. I was 19. Okay. When I crossed the channel, I became 20. Because that was June 6th, and June 1st was my birthday. So I became 20 when I landed on Utah Beach. And then I became a man, I forget where. It might have been Pilsen, Czechoslovakia. I became 21 years old, and we had a great party. Oh, gosh. Yeah, we had all the cognac you want. Yeah.
But do you remember that Christmas at the Bulge?
Yeah. Oh, boy, that was a cold. That was really cold. And we were about 2 or 3 miles from the front line. We could see the sky lit up and all that stuff. And the bombs stuff. But we weren't on the front line. We were back. So yeah.
I have a question here, Mr. Rossi. This is from David Peterson, and you might be able to see it in the chat box, or David might be able to see it for you.
We don't have the chat box lit up there. Hang on a second. Go ahead.
What were some of the songs that you played in the USO shows?
Oh gosh, we played a lot of them. Excuse me. Well, the big band, we played a lot of Stan Kenton. You know Stan Kenton?
No, I don't.
That's before your time. Yeah. Yeah.
How did you get that?
Well, the Stan Kenton was a pretty jazz band back in the 40s. And he had a lot of good arrangements of different songs. But we played all different. Well, the Andrews Sisters, we played for them also.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, oh, gosh, I can't remember all the songs. We played a lot of them. Yeah.
Did you have a favorite?
Well, my favorite song is Body and Soul, but we didn't play it there. So,
can you hum that song for us? Can you still hum it? Can you give us the tune?
Body and Soul?
Yeah, can you hum that? Do you know that? Can you recite it for us a little bit? Maybe give us a flavor.
For those people who aren't familiar with that song, can you hum it a little bit?
Da, 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 da. La 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 la. I love you, body and soul. Yeah, that's a great song. It was who made it famous was Coleman Hawkins, a tenor saxophone man. Yeah, Coleman Hawkins.
We'd love you to carry on. I mean, it's far better than listening to me. We'd much rather listen to you recite the classics. But we have a comment here from Clara, and she says, "You've still got it, Mr. Rossi."
There's a lady who's watching you somewhere out there in the United States who said, "You've still got it."
No, not really. No.
So did you when you played at these USO concerts, when you played for the troops, did they dance? Did they have any nurses there? Were there any women there that they did they dance?
It was everything. It was everything. We even had general. We had officers, we had the GIs, they're all together. Yeah, it was a mixture. Yeah.
What do you think of today's music? Do you watch the Grammys? Do you ever watch the Grammys? What do you think of today's music?
Do you like any music from today?
Do I like
any music from today?
Oh yeah, I like all music. Yeah, I like all music, but I like mostly the Glenn Miller days.
Yeah. Were you sad when he died? When Glenn Miller?
Well, I think everybody was. Yeah, that was awful. Yeah, no, they still don't know. No.
So you were a big Glenn Miller fan, yeah?
Pardon?
You were a big Glenn Miller fan?
Of Glenn Miller.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, and in the States, a lot of people, band leaders in the States, they were able to sign a contract with like Jimmy Dorsey's wife, Tommy Dorsey's wife, different big bands to play their music. And one I played for was Charlie, I forget his name, he was a trumpet player. And I played some of Jimmy Dorsey's music, But you have to get the permission to play those, the big band.
So when you were playing in front of the troops, did you ever feel sorry for them? Knowing what was going to happen to them, did you ever feel sorry? Was it ever?
No, I figured we were just like them, There was a couple places we played where we had to get covered. So, bombs. So,
right.
No, I felt like them.
Okay. Where were you today in 1945? 80 years ago today, where were you? Do you remember where you were on the 15th of February or in February 1945?
I remember we docked at New York Harbor Christmas Day,
Oh, 45.
1945.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. That's where I got separated, went to Indiantown Gap, Pennsylvania. That's where I was discharged from the Army. And I got home on New Year's Day.
Wow. What was it like coming into New York Harbor?
Oh, boy.
Did you
We
see
saw that Statue of Liberty, I'll tell you. Well, we really shouted. Yeah. Back to the United States. Yeah. Yeah.
How many soldiers were with you? How many soldiers were with you on the boat when you came back?
Oh, gosh, I don't know. There's just a lot of them. Hundreds of them, of us. Yeah. Yeah. I remember when we docked there, we got off the ship and the Red Cross was there. Gave us toothpaste and toothbrushes. It's funny. Yeah.
So at the end of the war, you were in Pilsen in used to be what is now the Czech Republic, but used to be called Czechoslovakia. That was the last city to be liberated during World War II by the Allies.
Yeah, yeah.
I think Pilsen was liberated on.
Yeah, from Pilsen they sent me to the 90th Infantry.
Right. Do you remember? Do you remember the end of the war? Do you remember what you did on VE Day? Do you remember what you did when you heard that the war was over?
I don't remember too much, but I know we all cheered about it. But actually, the war was not over when they said the war was over, because there were still Germans still fighting. I think maybe they were soldiers that didn't want to give up, So, but we were happy. I mean, we really cheered, and I thank President Truman. I think he had the guts to give the okay on the atom bomb, and that's probably saved my life too.
So you were headed toward the Pacific. Did you receive direct orders to go to the Pacific?
No. We just went there and came back real quick. So the war was just about over. So
okay. So we have a comment from George. I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Carestes, and he says, "Mr. Rossi, thank you for your service. I see you are wearing your Southeast Florida Honor Flight shirt. Do you know?"
I took that about 15 years ago. I went from Daytona Beach, Florida. Yeah, about 15 years ago. Yeah.
Have you been to the World War II Memorial?
Oh yes. That's the honor flight.
Right. How many times have you been to the World War II Memorial?
They only allow you once.
Right.
Every veteran, just one time you're allowed to go there.
Oh, okay.
On the honor flight.
Right.
Yeah.
And Alex, real fast, the comment also asked if Mr. Rossi knows Dr. Singh, and they're supposed to get together this afternoon.
Yeah.
So who's Dr. Singh? Who's Dr. Singh?
He's a wonderful, he's a doctor of dermatologist. He's a wonderful man. He does so much for veterans, so much. I can't even describe what he's so patriotic. You walk into his office, it's all flags and everything is patriotic. He's such a wonderful man.
So we have another question here. What did you talk to the Germans about? When you went to Normandy, what did you talk to them about?
The Germans?
When you went back to Normandy, what did you talk to the Germans about?
We had lunch we had a lunch break, and we had the Americans, we had the Germans next to us, and I talked. They were young fellows. They were still in the service.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they were still in the service. And they talked real friendly to us. And I went to the German cemetery also. And, you know, I mean, we're all human beings.
Colin here, and he joins us every week, I think, and he says, "Thank you for your service, Mr. Rossi. We younger generations here are so thankful to have you still with us to this day." So I've been in several schools in the last couple of weeks in Florida. Do you think young Americans today could do what your generation did? Do you think young Americans could do what you did?
I think all the people I've seen, all the young kids, that I think they're so patriotic too. You know, I think they would do the same as we did.
Do you have no doubt in your mind that we have a great generation?
Yeah, I think the younger generation is great. I think, yeah. All the I've met so many of them. They're all so nice. Yeah.
Well, I agree with you. I totally agree with you because I spent quite a bit of time in the last couple of weeks in Florida meeting young Americans here, and they've all been really inspiring. We have to move on. Sadly, we are running out of time, but I just wanted to say, Mr. Rossi, thank you very much for joining us. Thanks for what you did in World War II. We would love to see you at the memorial. We can give you a tour, a personal tour. And just so
I liked your lecture last, what was that?
Last Thursday.
Yeah, it was so nice. It was so nice. You're great. You're great at lecturing.
Oh, thanks. I wanted to say thank you on behalf of all of our guests. We really love talking to gentlemen like yourself, and I just wanted to
thank you. It was my pleasure.